Hi again. As I mentioned earlier, this first Great Awakening, at least in North America, really began when Jonathan Edwards preached this sermon, "Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God." He read it as a manuscript, and it is said that it was really an unemotional um, sermon, but it did. Uh, People responded. People prayed and cried out to God for repentance for 3 solid days, and thus the First Great Awakening erupted in North America. Uh, and of course, George Whitefield helped spread this First Great Awakening. He spoke and preached to large audiences in America and in Europe. In New England, it is said on the Boston Common that as many as 50,000 hearers gathered to hear his sermon. He had tremendous influence on many of the founders of the United States, including Benjamin Franklin. It's estimated, and keep in mind, the First Great Awakening occurred before the United States was even a country, but it had profound spiritual impact upon the colonies at that time in America that helped lead to the formation of this country. It's estimated when the United States became a nation shortly after the First Great Awakening, that awakening led to the conversion of 80%, at least 80% of the population of what would become the United States of America. Of course, probably the one person that had more influence on the First Great Awakening and lasting influence than anybody else was John Wesley. He was caught up in the midst of the First Great Awakening as it occurred in Europe, and as I mentioned earlier, he was really led to Christ at a Moravian prayer meeting at Aldersgate in London, England, in early in his career in ministry. He began in ministry, but really felt like he didn't really know God and felt ineffective until this prayer meeting at Aldersgate, and that's where God began to use him. And he started Methodist prayer meetings that eventually led to the formation of a denomination. But both he and his brother Charles were profoundly influential in helping to lead this new profound Methodist movement. Um, he was the theologian and spokesman of the group, and Charles Wesley was the songwriter. He was the worship leader. He wrote thousands of hymns, it is said, and but but anyway, they both profoundly influenced this movement, and then it's estimated that when the United States became a nation, by far the largest denomination in the United States was the Methodist Church because of their influence in starting to spread and establish churches throughout the United States and even throughout the American frontier early in the formation of this nation. So their influence was lasting both in Europe and America. It's estimated that John Wesley himself, secular historians, suggest that John Wesley is largely credited with Britain avoiding something like the French Revolution that was devastating on the French psyche, spiritually, physically, politically. It divided and dismantled the nation, and it led to the destruction of churches and to the martyrdom of Christians in France. French Christians were openly attacked and critiqued in the French Revolution. That didn't occur in the UK, and a lot of that was because of John Wesley. Most of that, many historians suggest, was because of John Wesley, his work among the poor and among the disenfranchised. Also, he and others were largely influential in helping to abolish slavery at that time. Um, the First Great Awakening, it helped establish church doctrine. It emphasized religious experience. New denominations grew, and there was an emphasis on individual faith and salvation. It also unified the American colonies, brought about revival in those colonies. And it was significant in helping, like as I said earlier, helping create the formation of the United States, both not only politically but even more so spiritually, which has helped, I believe, help leave a lasting influence upon this nation as far as why it has remained a predominantly Christian nation, even if Christianity, in some ways, has become a bit stagnant lately in America. It is still by far the largest segment of our population identifies with the Christian faith. And a lot of that is simply because how this nation was established during the height of the First Great Awakening. Um, anyway, thank you very much, and I look forward to all of your discussions this week, your reading journals, and our online session together as well. Talk to you soon. Bye.